listening to Spare Notes. My name is Jonah. I talk to artists that make music and literature. I talk to them about their creations, inspirations, evolutions, and communities. How do they create? What excites them? What inspires them? What's the relationship they have with their art and the art that they consume? And most importantly, is what are their stories? From the importance of enjoying your creations and the nature of music to getting down ideas and making art, Alexei Shishkin and I delve into ideas of taking advantage of time and moments to make music because you don't always know what you're going to get done and when you'll have that time. Having created up to almost a dozen LPs, Shishkin is no stranger to getting it done. His latest record, Good Times, is out September 5th. Hello, Alexei Shishkin. How are you doing? What are you getting in today? What have you been up to?
So today is, and I was just telling you this before we started. It's been a crazy whirlwind of a couple days.
Yeah.
Basically, as part of the press thing for this new album, I've been asked to do some little session recordings, but you
Uh-huh.
know how it is, and it's 2025. I'm not going into any radio stations recording sessions. I'm kind of doing them at home and sending versions out. Uh, and I let everything pile up until these last couple days. And so
Oh,
in the for the last 2 days, I've been just doing 10-hour days in the basement, trying to record new versions of songs that I don't even really know how to play because I played them once and recorded them and never wrote them down.
well, yeah, and congrats on making the album Good Times in 4 days. And it's your 11th full-length album. And I've been listening to the lead single Disco Elysium, and it's an awesome song. And I wonder, yeah, what is that like? You made an album in 4 days and now you're like making different versions. So is that what's that feel like
It's
outside of just like you needing to get it done?
Yeah, well, it doesn't not much. It really feels like not much else other than trying to get it done. Yeah, I think my style of like recording and doing stuff is very just like move 100 miles an hour in a straight line and just
Hmm.
like do things as they come. It's great because I can get stuff done quickly and I can, move through ideas as I wish at my own pace.
Hmm.
It sucks because I can't I don't like I guess keep any records of these ideas. I don't write down the any of the music. So like and I'm straight up not talented enough of a musician to just like hear it and go, "Oh yeah, okay, I know how to do that."
Mm.
Like what I've had to do with some of these tracks is like go in, break them out to their stems, and then like listen back to the piano part on loop and play along and try to get it right and stuff like that. It's I think I'm learning a lesson where I'm like, you know what? Maybe I should start writing the stuff down after, a decade. I'm finally like, okay, maybe it's time to start writing the stuff down. Yeah, but luckily I've been able to record covers for some of these, and that's really fun. That part's way more fun than recording new versions of my old songs because, you know, I get to play songs I love. So it's great.
So they're for like radio spots for someone to play on like a digital or FM radio or something like that.
Yeah, some of them I think are terrestrial, some of them are online. I'm just kind of doing them as they come in. I actually just texted my the PR person and
Hmm.
I was like, "Hey, so how like set are these? Can we cancel one of them?" And he was like he just responded with like a few texts that, always looking out for me and my well-being, but
Uh-huh.
I think I'm just gonna try to power through them. We'll see. When in doubt, just do pavement covers or something like that. I don't know.
Love me some pavement. Are you finding any growth in this mini pressure cooker?
Yeah, I think so. I was just thinking about that last night. I was like, man, this like those last 2 days of sitting here for like 10 to 12 hours every day is by far the most practice and music related stuff I've done all year. Like,
Wow.
I think in these last 3 days, I've probably played music more than I have in the last like calendar year, probably.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's not great. It's like not a productive way to, maybe it's productive, but it's not like a I guess sustainable way to like to do shit. But hey, you know what? Whatever. Like after this I got maybe 10 more hours and then I should be hopefully done with all these sessions. I don't know. We'll see.
That's good to hear that you'll have a break coming up. Um, how did you originally get into making music?
Oh, wow. So I think the original way I got into making music
Hmm.
was making hip hop beats. I wanted to be a producer. I wanted to make beats. I had FL Studio, Fruity Loops was called at the time.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I'm gonna pull like all these samples and, find these drum packs. I had a bunch of crazy packs and like, emulators of the like Akai's and all those, Lin drums, all those
Hmm.
like drum emulators. And I loved making beats. After a while, I noticed I was like no longer really sampling tunes. I was sampling stuff that I was playing because by that point I'd acquired someone gave me like a little shitty Casio keyboard as a gift, and someone like another friend gave me a guitar that they received as a gift but didn't want to play, and I was like, I'll take it, I'll learn guitar.
Hmm.
And so I amassed a few instruments, and I started kind of like tinkering on them, and eventually I was like just putting in my own melodies over the samples. Then I was sampling myself. Then I was sampling myself singing on my stuff. And I took a step back and I was like, wait a second, I'm not even making beats anymore. I'm just like making music. So yeah, from there I stopped kind of sampling other people's work and I started kind of just recording my own stuff and took off from there, just started doing stuff.
Did was any of that related to like the music community, or was it inspired by the music community in your surrounding? And where'd you grow up?
I grew up in North Florida in Jacksonville. It was kind of inspired by that, I guess. I had friends who were like, into, whether, I don't know, beat making and rapping and stuff like that. But I also had friends who were playing in bands and doing indie shit. I think
Hmm.
for me, it was more like this was something I could do with what I had. I had a computer. I knew my way around computers. I could figure out how to use a program. And Fruity Loops was a program that I figured out how to use.
Hmm.
Um, and I was like, oh wow, I can make music by myself. I don't have to like uh get a band together and like have people learn parts and all this. Like we can just kind of move again at 100 miles an hour and just do things as we wish.
Hmm.
Cool. Um yeah, so that was that and then it was there was like some online communities as well. Like there used to be a website called OK Player and they had like a message board and that was a early in my like music making journey, that was a place I would visit and like, submit. I think they had like competitions every week where it's like you flip a sample. And so I would try to do some of that and I would just submit beats for like feedback.
Mm.
And yeah, that was the early times of the internet when there were message boards other than Reddit. That was basically a fun time, I guess.
Yeah, no, still kind of when I was going over some of your interviews and seeing how many different states, like I was seeing like Boise, Idaho came up, Los Angeles, Portland, Oregon, New York City. Like, where is home for you? And like, what's your
Yeah.
music community like? Is it kind of patchwork? And like, have you lived in all those places? I'm
I've lived in Florida, California, Oregon, and New York. The
okay.
Idaho connection is mostly because of Treefort Music Fest. I did a lot of video work for them over their first decade of existence, and they're an amazing festival. They're still going strong. I think they're about to be in year 15, but
Hmm.
very surprising. Boise, Idaho, I never thought that it would be a connecting point for me, but yeah, the people who make that festival happen are awesome, and they really shine a light on like a lot of small bands. I mean, the festival happens over 5 days and
Hmm.
there's like 500 bands that play it. It is, and I'm not even joking. It's like
That's a lot.
sometimes it's less than that, but it's always more than 350. Like there have, I mean, it's an insane, insane week in Boise. If you haven't been, highly recommend going. It's
Okay.
so cool. You'll find your next favorite band. Um, but yeah, right now, home is Virginia. So living in Virginia.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot of places. So Good Times. You recorded it in 4 days. What were you thinking and why?
Well, the easy answer is that I wanted to go hang out with my friend and get out of the city for a bit and play music with him. So that's what we did. My
Mm,
friend Brad Krieger, he runs a studio in Providence, Rhode Island called Big Nice. And yeah, went up to Big Nice, chilled with Brad, and we kind of made this thing happen. And of course, Dave Kahn also was available for a little bit at the beginning. He played bass on it. So yeah, it was just cool to hang out with Brad for 4 days and just chill and make music.
and you put the constraint on before you went into the studio, like, okay, we're only going to be here for a certain amount of time.
Well, it was more like I can afford 4 days of studio time at this price because he was giving me he's the man. He gives me a good deal on studio time. So,
Hmm.
I try to, it's like anytime your friends also work in a creative field, like I work in a creative field. I'm a filmmaker, right, for work. Um,
Hmm.
but anytime I have a friend, I should speak for myself here. Anytime I have a friend who also works in a creative field, my first instinct is like pay them their rate. Like never ask a
Hmm.
favor because I don't like it when someone asks me a favor. I love offering favors. I love it. I'll do your shit for free, man. I do
Hmm.
so much work for free. But if someone comes to me and is like, "Hey, can you do this for free?" It's a little bit different. It's a little bit weird.
Hmm.
So yeah, that 4 days was basically dictated by like, "Hey, one, I can get some time off work. Two, you've got availability for those 4 days, Brad, I mean. And three, I can afford 4 days right now. So let's book them and we'll make it happen.
You knew you were going to do an album?
I didn't know what we were going to do. I was like, well, let's go in here and see what happens, see how many we walk out with. I was like, if we'd walked out with, 7, I would have been okay with that. If we'd walked out with 15, I would have been okay with that. If we walked out with like 4, I would have been like, what the fuck are we doing? These better be 4 really good songs.
And so I guess that's cool that it was a little bit more loose. Is that like, was there any sense of inspiration versus urgency, like, or surrounding that, or because since you were feeling so loose, it was like pretty free?
It was pretty free. I mean, like it really was like the pace was so chill. I don't even know if we were in there for full 8 hour days most of the time. Like it was
Really?
like we would start around like 10 or 11. Probably, yeah, maybe around, yeah, between 10 and 11. And then we would always break for lunch. We'd go out of the studio, go somewhere, have lunch, and we would be done by 6 every day. I mean, we weren't trying to kill ourselves. We're just having fun and making music. It's
Hmm.
part of the fun part about working with your friends, like in their studio, is one, you get to hook your friends up, right? You're paying them and they're getting a day out of you, but also
Yep.
hopefully it's a chill day. You can not only get a day, but you can you can kind of relax, while you're doing it. It's not like there's a client in and we have to like be buttoned up and oh, they're going over time, but we want to impress them. It's like, no, we're just chilling. So yeah, it was super loose and it hopefully, I don't know, I think it reflects in the album. The album's a little it can get kind of weird and loose. So I think it reflects it.
It's still, yeah, I mean, it's a fun album. And how is it similar or different from like past albums in a noticeable way?
Yeah, so it is very similar to the process that I usually use when I'm recording stuff at home. I had an album last year, I think, called Dagger, and
Hmm.
Dagger was recorded in my apartment in Queens at the time. That was just like me recording music. That was it. That process is always, moves like I've mentioned multiple times, that process moves quickly because I like when I'm working by myself, I think it's nice that I can just make my ideas happen. I don't have to
Yeah.
communicate them to anybody. Um, in the past, when I've recorded at Big Nice, because I've recorded there before, um, I've come in with other players and had like people play on the album, and we would track things live and we'd do it a more traditional way. This was the first time I blended those, where we went to Big Nice. Me and Brad, I guess he's always there, but
Hmm.
I went to Big Nice, and it was just me and Brad. So this was like right in between where I didn't have to communicate a bunch of ideas to people because Brad just gets it.
Hmm.
So we could move really quick. And it's really nice because I think him and I have a shared ethos of like just get it down, get the idea down. We don't have to do things like a super traditional way. For example, you know, when we're recording some of those vocals or those guitar parts and shit, I was like, let's talk about the guitar. I was like, I don't care about getting like the coolest amp you have and miking it up with the nicest microphone. Just plug
Sure.
the fucking guitar into the computer and record
Yeah.
it. I don't care. Like, why are we gonna waste an hour picking amps and picking mics when we can just emulate it on the computer? It's not a big
Hmm.
deal. We're not, you know, I don't know. We're not making like the next great album that like millions of people are gonna hear and like we're gonna put it in a time capsule to send to the aliens or whatever. It's like we're just making a fucking little album. Like let's just have fun, you know? So
Hmm.
yeah, that's I don't know if it's coming across, but the theme was kind of just like have fun and do your thing.
Do you think that, like, have you, I mean, from when you started making music to kind of now, like, even when you're talking about when you started making music, it felt like free form. Have you been in like situations where you felt a little bit more pressure to produce? Like, and I'm kind of thinking about this in the way of like a lot of the artists I've been talking to lately is like when they let go and when they a little bit more pressures they taken off themselves is when like their art they can find more space in their art and creation.
Yeah, I don't know. I think for me, I don't really ever feel any pressure making this because there's nothing riding on it. It's just like we're just making music. I think the most pressure I felt is maybe with these sessions, but even then, like this is no offense at all meant to the people I'm doing these sessions for, but I just think how many people are really going to hear this? Like, because there's just a natural process of weeding things out when it comes to society and pop culture, like, or any social ideas.
Hmm.
If the product or the let's product is such a dirty word for it, but if the art you're making is uh good as it hits people, those people are all their own gatekeepers in a way. As it hits
Mm.
people, if they like it, it passes. And if it's good enough, it'll get to a platform where a lot of people will see it. And that speaks on its for itself. There's so much stuff out there that unless it's like the cream of the crop or, you know, really shockingly bad, it's not going to get seen by a lot of people.
Mm.
Um, so I'm pretty confident that in the bell curve of art, I'm squarely in the middle. So I'm not
Hmm.
gonna like fret or put too much pressure on myself over making stuff. That's basically it.
That sounds nice. I like that. Do you, I guess the next time you make an album, like, will it be kind of, it'll just be when you have time or, and you're not even sure it will be an album, kind of like it'll come, you'll go into
Yeah,
the studio when you feel like it?
right. Yeah, mostly the way I operate is like I will just pick some dates in the future and I'll try to book time. And when that time comes, hopefully I got some stuff. And if I don't, when we go in there, we'll make some stuff. Um, it's really not like I'm so not precious about my output or my
Hmm.
work. I just find it like life's too short to care too much about, you know, playing like making noise into a microphone. It's like
Sure,
if you like doing it, just do as much of it as you can. It's like the quantity over quality approach, I guess, you know.
sure.
Like I mean, you know, I don't even want to say that they do this, but like Guided by Voices, right? They put out so much stuff.
Uh-huh.
Like that's kind of the boat I want to be in. I want to just be putting out stuff. And for the record, I think Guided by Voices, they're always a certain level of quality. They know what they're doing. But just want to make stuff as much as I can.
That's awesome. I was reminded of Prince. I think Prince made like 30 albums or something crazy. No one talks about like, I mean, talks about quote unquote, right? Like, I don't hear about them or they're not covered as much, but like he was just making music, like just doing it, you know?
Yep, and I bet that if you asked him, "What's your favorite thing you've done?" it would be the most recent thing he's done. That's
Mm,
like, because to me, that's like what it is, you know? I mean, I talked about gatekeepers earlier. You're your
hmm.
own gatekeeper to your ideas. Like you you have to like them enough to create them, you know? We've all like written a line and been like, no, deleting it and rewriting it. You know, we all like create things for ourselves personally and then don't release them. It's just like you have to enjoy your ideas enough to like put them out there. Um, and with with that 30 albums thing, it's like it's a every you can look at every artist because that's just the nature of music and the
Yeah.
consumption of music is that people when you have a song that rocks, people want to hear it over and over and over and over again. That's why like you still get, you know, old ass artists touring and playing the same shit that they wrote when they were like 22 and
Yeah.
they're touring on it when they're like 70, you know? It's weird. It's like golden handcuffs kind of, but like
Mm,
it's funny, it's the exact opposite of like comedy, right? In comedy, so you heard a joke already. You're like, "Okay, I want to hear a new one. I want to hear a new one."
hmm.
So comedy is really interesting like that because as comedians grow, their art evolves in a totally different way and like, you might like something that a comic did in their 50s but hate their work from their 20s, you know. So it's I don't know. It's cool. It's like art and life and
Yeah.
time. Oh, wow. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think about the comedians a lot because they're like, when I notice the ones that are getting older and still around, I'm like, oh, they just keep coming up with new stuff. Like it almost seems like also a little bit difficult because you kind of have to be a little bit more prolific. Like the
Yeah.
industry kind of demands it for you to keep going and make
Well,
money.
you got to walk a line because like with those comics, right? Like if they reach a certain level of success, they stop being the everyman and then their observations become like whack, where you're just like, that's the whole, right? The stereotypical like airplane, like making jokes about airplanes and traveling. It's like,
Hmm.
okay, well that's because that's all you know. Like if you're just in airplanes all day and in hotels, you can't just always make jokes about that. Like
Right.
it's not that funny. Um but yeah, it's like that's a crazy profession. That is
Yeah.
stand up is like wild. It's too much, you know. Like when it comes to comedy, I'm more of like I'm a fan of like really silly improv bullshit comedy. I like that because it's close to writing, you know. Improv is just like writing on the like out loud. And
Hmm.
I think that shit is way more entertaining than watching like a nicely manicured set. You know, I don't care to really watch that. It's almost how I feel about music. It's like
Mm.
I'd rather just like go for it than spend like an hour refining a solo. It's like
Hmm.
just play the solo a few times, keep the take you like, you know.
I appreciate that. What's your take on the idea of like the working class musician?
Oh man, how much time you got?
I got
I
some time.
think with the well, I don't think it exists anymore, first of all.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. I think that like it is a really cool idea. I wish that it could be more prevalent. But it times are looking dire for working class musicians, I will say that.
And what does it mean, just to get a clear definition, like what does it mean to be like a working class musician, or what could it mean?
Yeah, I would say to me it means you make your living um, off of making music. Uh, you know, right now, and and the way it probably has been for most of human history is people who like have an art or a craft that they practice, that's just like a hobby. And
Hmm.
they do it and you know, our weird like techno capitalist dystopia that we live in has turned the word hobby into side hustle. And people are like, yeah, music's my side hustle. It's like, no, it's not.
Mm.
It's not. It's your hobby.
Mm.
Um, they're like, oh, but I tour. Well, yeah, but you lose money on your tours, so it's kind of a hobby. But I don't know, whatever. That's a deeper conversation. Um, yeah, I think that it's, you can look around, you can pull like any artist pretty much. Not a lot of them are making a bunch of money off
Right.
of their music. It's not really how it goes anymore. So yeah, I don't know. I think the future is bleak, but hopefully people just keep making music. I guess tough times create the best art.
Yeah, it's interesting that you said the future because the next question was like, do you have any feel or vision of where the music industry is heading?
Yeah, I mean, it's well, okay, so I think that the industry as a whole is pretty much like on its last legs. I don't
Mm.
think that the traditional idea of a music industry is really going to exist much longer. I think that we're already seeing it, but like I think it'll get even further fragmented. It's like the example I always talk about is if you get, five people in a room and you start asking everyone what have they been listening to lately, there's a chance that not one single person will know any of the other person's bands that
Mm.
they listen to because, it's easier than ever to find artists. There's more music being made than ever before.
Hmm.
Um, and because of how fragmented it is, the past industry model is not really sustainable because the past industry model revolved around one monolith that plucks an artist, a talent they like, puts them
Hmm.
through the gauntlet, and shoots them up to the moon. And it's just not really possible anymore because people's tastes people have more freedom to go pick what they want to listen to and what they want to consume.
Hmm.
Um, as far as, you know, how to steer the music industry out of its death spiral,
Yeah.
that is above my pay grade. I wish I knew the answer, but I think right now what it's looking like is that the answer is we have to kind of embrace a culture of patronage where people who really like a band will be paying them to make
Hmm.
music, basically.
Hmm.
It's kind of like, I guess, I think that's probably how art was in the Renaissance and stuff. There was like wealthy benefactors who like paid the artists to make art. I think we're probably moving towards that with stuff like Patreon, Substack, whatever. It's like, hey, if you like my stuff, give me $10 a month and I can pay my rent or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's
Weird.
interesting. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's weird times. I don't know if it's good or bad. I think it's bad, but you know, you can look at it either way.
Yeah, in my last episode, I was talking with the writer Rachel Colst, who runs Rainbow Rodeo, and she was saying that actually it would be more helpful if like more super wealthy people, you know, ran certain magazines or like funded certain magazines in or certain like cogs that would help industries like that. And sometimes that happens in schools too, where like people donate a certain amount of money for like the arts or the sciences so that like research can be done or so that art can be made. And I wonder if that's just like kind of
Yeah.
part of our society, like that's necessary sometimes to for things to flourish.
100%. It's always been run by the 1% or the top sliver of the 1%.
Mm.
They've always gone hand in hand with any like, state power as well. It's just the way things are. It's not necessarily a super bad thing. The bad thing though is that uh we're like in this just complete like it's gotten to this crazy tipping point where like the people at the top who the wealth is concentrated in those circles, the big ones at least, seems like they don't really even give back that much. Like their whole goal is like, increase, like their goal is number go up. That's what they want. They don't
Hmm.
care if they're giving back. And like when they do give back, there's always a reason that where the root cause of it is like, oh, it's because it's a tax write-off, or it's because it increases my wealth or something like that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, so I don't know. I have a really, I mean, my short answer is there is no such thing as an ethical billionaire. But like, I agree with whatever that writer was saying. Like, yeah, of course, rich people should be funding, zines and stuff, I guess. I don't know. It's like they, you know, it's like they made that idea and were like, hey, I got this idea. Rich people should be helping out magazines. And Jeff Bezos was like, great idea. I'm gonna buy the Washington Post. And we're like, no, dude, no, that's not what we meant. Like,
Right.
I didn't mean like buy a newspaper. I meant like give back to
Right.
art.
Oh man. Shifting gears,
Yes.
I really wanted to ask you this question. What's your relationship to Bill to Spill and their albums?
Yeah, I love Built to Spill. I think they're really good. I mean, that's kind of goes without saying. Uh, they There's Nothing Wrong with Love, I think is one of their early albums. That one is the one that like really, really made me fall in love with Built to Spill.
Mm,
And like that band, I was listening to them. I had just gotten into them when I was like first really messing with like recording guitars and drums
mm,
and singing. And I was never confident in my singing voice, still am not. But listening to Doug Marsh sing, it I was like, "Oh, that's what singing is." Like you don't have to like be it can be scrappy. It can be rough
hmm.
around the edges. The idea is to communicate a feeling, right? It's not like about being the perfect like singer and hitting every single note the exact right way, you know?
Right.
You can stretch into notes, you can move around the notes, you don't have to like really hit them. Um, so yeah, I mean, very formative and very important band for me, Built to Spill.
What stood out to you with like the guitars? Because yeah, I can just hear Bill to Spill guitars now, like meow. And
Yeah.
like and what stood out to you with the guitars and the drums?
Well, yeah, the guitars and the drums, those influences probably were more like maybe subconscious where like, I was just listening to them so much that naturally those tones seeped into my brain, but really the biggest influence he had was on my vocals.
Mm,
Just literally starting the process of singing. With anything, the hardest part is starting, and those first few demos that you're like, or I was recording like by myself in a room,
hmm.
like trying to sing into like this shitty microphone I had and like listening back to my singing, I was like, geez, I'm so like off.
Hmm.
It would, that's a big thing to push through. You know what I mean? I hear that a lot where people are like, oh, I don't like my voice. I don't like listening to my voice back. I get it. No one does at
Yeah.
first, but then you have to like learn how to use it. It's just another instrument. Um, so yeah, and in terms of the guitars, I think you know, that I just naturally liked the tones and I kind of tried to maybe copy them. I don't know, but he's like such a fucking incredible guitarist.
Yeah.
I could never approach that stratosphere. I'm like a monkey when it comes to guitars, I just kind of pluck away until it sounds right.
I love that. Do you think that because it happened to me, I was like, just goofing off with like some friends a few weeks ago, and I was singing when the other people were playing the instruments, and I felt so self-conscious, just like in any of the registers that I did, I was just like, oh, this is weird. Do you think that like how we've been inundated with pop culture and like, so to speak, traditional singing, like that it's made us a little bit, it's created this line, that invisible line that makes us second guess like what we're doing.
Uh, I mean, there's still bad singing. That still exists. Like,
Uh-huh.
you can still there's just times when like it's not in your range, like I have tons of songs where it's not in my range. And what ends up happening with those is like I scrap them if I'm writing them and I realize they're not. I should probably learn my range, but
Mm.
uh, what I end up doing is if it's not in my range, I just go low and I kind of stick to like. Sorry, I just go low and I stick to one kind of like one or two notes, and I just um kind of talk sing my way through it. To be honest, it's yeah, I don't know. I think it's just strange. The culture, like you were talking about pop culture, and blurring lines between, you know, what's good traditionally and what's bad.
Yeah.
I think it's a very it's creating a division that gets more and more like visible by the day, by the year. There's people who are like getting super comfortable just like being in front of a camera all the time, being
Hmm.
like recording everything all the time. There's
Hmm.
also the exact pushback in the other direction where it's people who are like, I don't want anything recorded at all. I don't want to have any cameras at all. I don't want
Hmm.
any, you know what I mean? So I think it's just causing like a weird thing where like a ton of people are comfortable just getting on a mic and like singing, and a ton of people are like very not comfortable with that.
Mm. Well, I guess we'll see where how we'll continue to evolve in the music world, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, where should people go to listen to your music and follow you? And when does the album come out?
Oh, that's a good question. I should know when the album comes
I
out,
should know
but
too.
I'll look that up as I'm answering. I think that the best way to listen to the stuff is probably, well, here, let me give you the answer that I think the label would want me to say. You should
Okay.
go to alexeishishkin.bandcamp.com. That's a tough thing to spell, so I don't blame you if you don't go. But you can also look it up on Spotify, Alexei, and then the last name Shishkin, just like it sounds. Um, Also, I guess the label is called Rue Defense, RUE, and then the word defense.
Hmm.
You'll find links through there. And I believe the album is coming September 5th, according to this thing that I'm saying here. I'm looking at this press doc that I had to do stuff for. So yeah, keep an eye out, enjoy it, and hopefully it'll be good times when you listen to it.
Thanks for coming by and talking. I'm really,
Yeah,
it's been nice getting into semi-deep philosophical holes.
yeah, of course, anytime. Thank you